and welcome back to another Yorkshire Railways Model Railway Review. Today you join me with a box, and I promise that's not just the whole of the video, but a box nonetheless that contains a train set. So yes, this will be the first train set that I will be reviewing on the channel, and it is manufactured by Hornby. So if you bear with me just a second, and I will get out what I've bought in the box, and we'll take a look. But yes, today's model comes from Hatton's, and they retail at, I think it's £140. So a reasonable price train set. Comes with Track Pack A from Hornby, so you do get a siding with this, as well as a camera knock just there. But here we are. So sticking with the theme, we have the Great Western Railway high-speed train set. So this comes with a power car, a dummy car, and one Mark III coach, as well as a Hornby Select controller, a set of points, as I've previously said. It comes with Trackback A, and you do get the standard oval of track with that as well. But without further ado, let us take a look at what the actual product looks like inside. So we'll just open the box and we shall have a look. If you bear with me 2 seconds. I like to open the boxes so that I don't damage them, so I can keep them as wall art on the back of the loft, just to basically make it look a little bit less like a loft as such. Don't know if anyone else does that, but it's just what I like to do with my boxes. And here we go. So this comes with the Hornby's brand new sort of egg crate packaging, which I do think is quite effective at keeping lesser detailed models safe and sound in there. But nonetheless, I do prefer this packaging to the polystyrene packaging, because I do think even with less detailed models, it's a bit easy to damage some of the wheels and couplings and things like that. So yeah, I do prefer the egg crate packaging. So underneath here you will find all your manuals and the track mat that it comes with as well. So the track mat sort of gives you a little basis if you're wanting to run it on carpet, just to protect the track and the locomotive from any bits of fluff that you can sometimes get from running it on a carpet. It isn't really recommended to do so, but I do know some people do it, and the track mat is an effective way at making sure that doesn't happen. So without further ado, let's have a look at the power car. And I'll just take it out. Oh, and we've already noticed one thing that's happened is that the wheels come off. This isn't great. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I wasn't expecting that to happen. No, that's not right. Hang on, right. God, it's really hard trying to do this on camera. Yeah, there is a slot for it, and it does just click back together. I think it must have just been loose. Again, not brilliant in terms of quality control, Hornby, but yeah, I think that's back on. So here is the power car, as you can see, in this lovely satin green finish, which I think looks very effective. The GWR livery is very basic, and one noticeable thing I am noticing about the power car is that on the box it's pictured as a Hornby model. This is a Lima model. I know that because I've got quite a few HSTs at the moment, and you can tell the difference quite easily. Oh, and the dummy car has had the same issue. Oh god, let's hope I can get this one back together on camera a lot better than the power car. There we go. They are just clicking together quite easily. I mean, I think it's either been taken out of the box just to be had a look at, because I did have a previous issue with the previous one. I know the pickups there are a little bit bent out alignment. I will sort that out in a second. But here is the dummy car. As you can see, not much difference to the power car. This is very basic in terms of livery. There's no sort of stickers on the side. It is just the yellow front and the GWR on the sides and the running numbers. So that's a little bit of a disappointment in the livery as such. I'd say the coach is probably where it's coming back in terms of it. Still very basic but quite effective. We've got that nice sort of silver stripe with the yellow stripe on top, just below the roof, and then the two silver doors here. It's looking quite nice. There is a little bit of tint to the window, as you can see, and there is an interior in there. So yeah, at least there is something going for the coach. But interestingly to note that if you're wanting to, say, purchase more of these coaches to make your rake on your locomotive longer, they don't actually do this version on ever. The only way you'll be able to get it is if you go on eBay and purchase somebody else's Mark IIIs. It does come with a track roller, as you can see, transformer, controller, and the track itself. I'll just take that out so you can have a look. But yes, you can't get the Mark III coach that comes in the railroad version from Hornby or any of the retailers out there. You have to buy the more expensive one, which I believe is a little bit different in detail as well, so might look a little bit odd joined together. I'd probably suggest either getting a full rake of the more detailed ones and running them alongside the railroad trains. Might make it look a little bit less odd. Either that, as I say, just go on eBay and find a coach for yourself. But anyway, let us take it down to the track and we'll give it its first test performance. So this locomotive hasn't been running, and we're just giving it a little bit of juice, and yeah, not a brilliant start at crawling. It is shaking and juddering like a scared sheep. Yeah, it's really not liking the slow speeds at all. I don't know if that's down, well, it probably is down to the Hornby Select controller. I know they're not the best, but at the moment I can't afford to upgrade it to anything else. So again, it's a Hornby product tested by Hornby controller, so theoretically really it should work. I shouldn't have to upgrade my controller to make the locomotive work. But it definitely is more at home with the higher speeds. However, I do think that although it is a railroad model and that is probably where it's going to be ran at most of the time at the higher speeds, I think for a more experienced modeler, you shouldn't have to compromise the performance for a cheaper expense. I do think there must be ways of making a good all-round performer, and I don't think this has definitely done it, because this hasn't got a ring-filled motor like all the other previous Hornby Class 43s that I have at the moment. This has actually got a new motor in there, which I believe is a 3-pole, but I will have to go and double check that, or somebody can correct me in the comments, but I do think it's a 3-pole and not a 5-pole motor, which is probably why it is lacking a bit in performance. There just isn't that enough torque from the motor to combat that slow speed, whereas in a 5-pole motor you can get a little bit better of a crawl. But again, that might change after it's been run in, but we'll certainly give it its best shot, and just have a bit of a run in and a test and see if any performance does come back to life, but I am highly doubting it the way it is going on. And I should also say that it does have working headlights. You can probably see just there, I'll turn it on and off a little bit. Yeah, you can see the LEDs lighting up. I do think it would have been better if they'd used a more warmer white LED rather than the sort of ice blue, but the main thing is, unlike a lot of the previous HSTs, the lights are only in the power car and not in the dummy car, which, if they could have done this back in the 80s when they brought out the HST sets, why can't they do it in a modern set from the 2020s? It's mind-baffling. I mean, for the sake of a cost of an LED, is Hornby really skimping out on that? Because the only way you can possibly do this is buying 2 sets, which just means that basically you'll have to have 2 power cars running, and then you get the 2 coaches as well, I guess, but you've just got 2 dummy cars left to do nothing. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yes, we'll give the set a run in, and I hope you enjoy. And yeah, we'll just have a little talk about or you can listen to me ramble or just put me on mute. But yeah, we'll just talk about the set in general. Um, so yeah, looking at it on the track here, it's working perfectly fine. It's at a set speed. It's working absolutely tremendously. There's no derailments. The colour's great, and yeah, I think it does fit in well on the layout. But again, I just think that this new motor isn't any better than the Ringfield motor. If anything, I'm leaning towards, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm actually leaning towards it being better. But anyway, let's get on to the ratings of this set, and just through my quick little performance that you've just seen there. Performance-wise, is definitely a 3-star. It's terrible at slow speeds. It makes a noise at middle ground speeds. It's only right at the high speeds that it actually seems to be okay. And even then, are you going to be wanting to run it at 50 to 60% speed all the time? I don't think so. And I think that's why it's getting marked down. I'll be honest, I'm leaning maybe to mark it down lower. Detail-wise, 3.5. It's the Hornby HST. The railroad version anyway. There isn't any separately fitted parts, it's all just moulded detail. So yeah, I can't really give it any higher or lower than the previous models that I've reviewed because they're all exactly the same molds. Livery, I'm giving it a 3, and that mainly is just down to the fact that yes, the GWR is very basic, and I'm not faulting GWR for that. It's effective, but at the same time, I just think Hornby could have maybe put some of the safety stickers on and things like that, as they have done on some of the previous models that I've reviewed. It's just very, very, very basic, and it probably is just a cost-cutting measure, and that's why it's getting marked down. Quality-wise, 2.5. I'm only putting it 2.5 for the fact that I don't like the new motor. I don't think it's great, and personally, 2 of the wheels fell out of my model, so, and it was caught on camera. This was literally me pulling it out of the box and 2 wheels came off. You can't stage that. It's just how it came in the post. Now, it might be Hatton's fault, it might be Hornby's fault, but again, I don't think Hatton's have taken it out of the box to take the wheels out. I can't see them doing that. I can't see Hornby doing it. I just think they don't have. I don't think they've put it in the box properly when it was manufactured, and it's just fallen out. But nevertheless, they went back in fine, and it clipped together fine. It's not that it was broken; it was just loose. So, but that's why it's getting marked down, because quality control clearly needs a little bit of a look at. Value for money is the only thing that is getting this model a higher rating than it maybe should have. I think it's £140, which you can get at the retailers now. It's a little bit more expensive on hornby.com, but yeah, in the retailers you can still pick this up for about £140, £130, which I think for you get the power car, the dummy car, a Mark III coach, plus the track, plus the controller, plus the re-railer, plus the track mat, etc, etc, etc. I think it's pretty decent value for money. I think the hiring price that Hornby keeps going for is making this a little bit more unaffordable, but overall I do think that the retailers are sticking to their guns and they're not trying to raise the prices too much. So therefore I would say yes, if you're looking for a Hornby HST, or just a starter kit in general to get you set up with getting a train set, then yes, I would say the GWR HST train set is 100% worth the money. You're paying for what you get for, basically, in that you've got a railroad model at a railroad price plus the track. So yeah, I do think it's pretty decent money for what you get. Performance-wise, I do think there are better train sets out there, but it's how much you love a HST over maybe a steam train set. But that's for you to decide. And that gives us an overall rating of 3.2, which I believe now is the lowest rating HST or train review that I've done so far. But if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to hit me a like and a subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.